Sorry about that, y'all. Let me see. Is everybody still here? Are y'all still here? Let me check. 2 seconds. I just had to reload that video. Okay, let me just double check and see if everybody's here now. Okay, hey, I can see everybody's not here. Wait a second. Okay, so this is the new stream. Sorry about that. Here we go. Let me just wait for folks to come in. 2 seconds. Sorry about that. I didn't realize the stream stopped. I guess it got cut off, y'all. I guess it got cut off. But here we go again. I don't know why that happened, but I'm going to start over and I'm going to carry it from this point on. I have no clue what just happened, but in any case, going back to the shooting in Minneapolis, like I was saying, let me just double check the chat and see. 2 seconds here. The stream just stopped. I'm not sure why, but now we back. Can y'all hear me? If you can hear me, put a 1 in the chat. That is really, really strange. That's really, really strange. But in any case, I'm back. So I hope people catch up on the stream. I'm going to give it a second. That's the weirdest thing that just happened. I'm not sure why it happened. But now we back and I'm going to continue. That was really weird. But let me see if I can just find the new stream now here for a second. Give me 2 seconds, y'all. I'm sorry about that. I have everything ready now. Like I was saying, there was a victim. There was a shooter. And the shooter identified, we were talking about the identity being someone that that identified as trans, right? And I was also saying yesterday that that's kind of, I don't see where that factors in, because a mass shooter obviously would have some sort of, something else wrong with them outside of that, or something else different about them. The main story is not their sexuality or how they identify. The story is, who do they hate and why did they do it? The motive, Now, the motive, they found out more about this now, so we're going to get to rocking it. So here we go.
The tragic shooting at Annunciation Catholic Church and School in Minneapolis on August 27, 2025, has led to significant developments in the investigation. KTV Fox 2 San Francisco K-Ground and motive, the suspect identified. The suspect, identified as Robin Westman, a 23-year-old transgender woman, had previously attended the school. Investigators have uncovered that she harbored intense hatred toward various groups, including Catholics and Jewish individuals. She had a disturbing admiration for past mass shooters and had posted a manifesto on YouTube expressing these sentiments, which has since been removed. The FBI is treating the incident as both a domestic terrorism act and a hate crime targeting Catholics. ABC News firearms, a rifle, shotgun, a Westman legally purchased 3 firearms, a rifle, shotgun and pistol prior to the attack. During the assault, she fired 116 rifle rounds into the church. Authorities recovered hundreds of pieces of evidence, including electronic devices and documents, which further illustrate her obsession with mass shootings. ABC News Arkell and Harper Moisky, 10, and the attack resulted in the deaths of 2 children, Fletcher Merkel, 8, and Harper Moisky, 10, and injuries to 18 others, including 15 children aged 6 to 15. Remarkably, all injured victims are expected to survive. The community has been deeply affected, with vigils and memorials held in honor of the victims. ABC 7 Los Angeles content to understand the ping. Law enforcement continues to analyze the extensive evidence gathered, including Westman's manifesto and digital content, to understand the full scope of her motivations. The FBI and local authorities are collaborating to ensure that all aspects of the case are thoroughly examined. Fox.
Okay, this is just the background.
Reporting from multiple.
Now, again, y'all, I don't know what the heck happened. I got cut off for some reason with that intro. That's really strange. I mean, totally cut off. The stream was cut off completely. That's never happened before. But again, now we're going into the background of the shooter a little bit. So let me play some more. I hear you, Bits.
Multiple sources, investigators have found that the shooter, Robin Westman, harbored intense hatred toward 1. School, 2. Jewish individuals, also mentioned in her writings and manifesto. 3. Other unspecified groups. Sources mention various groups but do not provide a full, detailed list beyond.
So that's other specified groups, right? That could be many. And I will just add to that list. Likely, I mean, the chances of there being some black folk in there is pretty high because this is the U.S. And usually if you hate Jews, the usual suspects are next. But she also hated trans people, which is, come on, this is interesting. But also another interesting caveat, hated Trump as well. Now, I don't know where this is going. Obviously, in my mind, it shows you that there's a lot of confused people out there that tend to get guns and to shoot people up. Right. But I just wanted to do this right
Catholics and Jews.
because we discussed it yesterday. So I don't want to leave the update out of it. I want everybody to be informed.
And social media posts indicated a broader ideology of animosity toward groups she associated with religious or social opposition. But authorities have only explicitly confirmed Catholics and Jewish individuals. If you want, I can summarize all documented targets and ideological obsessions mentioned in her manifesto and online posts. That gives a fuller picture of her mindset. Do you want me to do that? Robin Westman, the 23-year-old perpetrator of the August 27th, 25 mass shooting at Annunciation Catholic Church and School in Minneapolis, expressed intense hatred toward numerous groups and ideologies. Investigators have identified several of these targets based on her manifesto and online content. Groups targeted by Robin Westman. 1. Catholics. Westman harbored deep animosity toward Catholics, which was evident in her attack on a Catholic institution and in writings that included anti-Catholic sentiments. 2. Her manifesto contained explicit anti-Semitic messages, including the phrase 6 million wasn't enough, referencing the Holocaust's death toll. 3. Donald Trump and H. Westman inscribed "Kill Donald Trump" on her firearms, indicating strong opposition to the former president and his supporters. 4. Transgender community. Despite being herself, Westman expressed self-loathing and regret over her gender identity, suggesting internalized transphobia. 5. Political opponents. She also scrawled "Nuke India," reflecting hostility toward geopolitical adversaries. 6. General society. Westman's writings revealed a pervasive
general society
hatred to her with a notable admiration for past mass shooters. The FBI is treating the incident as both a domestic terrorism act and a hate crime, underscoring a pro. The FBI is treating the incident as both a...
All right, so as you can see, that is basically another crazy ass shooter, right? And those people are a problem. And, by the way, mass shooters, liberals tend to be victims, a lot of the victims of mass shooters, just for the record. But in any case, now that we know that, let's move on to the regularly planned program. Now, this program, it's about a warning, and it's about the European allies, what they have said. Let's go straight to that. What's being said about Trump, it should not be a surprise, but it's official. And I would suggest American citizens use this as a qualifier to your situation. Like whatever it is you feel back home, add this to it, because this is from the outside world. The perspective of European nations now, pretty much now about to come out and just say it. Donald Trump must be a Russian asset. I mean, let's pay attention. All right. Let me see here. Denmark, right? Number one, going back to Denmark. Why? Right now the Epstein files are kicking Trump in the ass. But the main thing is, let's not have these Epstein files kick us in the ass. The only way we can do that is by knowing what's in it ourselves. Because if somebody's blackmailing anybody, which you're about to see, there's plenty of people who think Trump is an asset and must be getting blackmailed, i.e. must be getting blackmailed, right? But in any case, if we don't want to be the victims of that blackmail, then we need to know what's in those Epstein files. We need to know why Donald Trump is kissing ass to Putin. And we need to get to the bottom of who else knows it also. But first of all, we need to know what's in it. Now, out of this strange thing, this strange series of events, I guess Trump is never running out of a need to distract people. So now they're back full-fledged at war, basically, with everything around them, not just the American citizens, but the rest of the world, antagonizing, being disrespectful. First of all, United States of America, nobody in fucking Greenland wants to live in the United States of America. You will try to kill them. You hate Native people. Okay, first of all, this regime in the United States of America hates Native people. So I don't know what kind of charade this is to go out and even try to pretend like Greenlandish people want to be a part of the United States. You don't treat your own natives well, let alone your own people. The United States of America treats its own people like shit right now. This regime totally does. And everyone around the world sees that, including Greenlanders. But the Epstein files exist. So we have to go through the motions anyway. Now let's read here. Denmark summons U.S. diplomat over alleged Greenland influence campaign. They didn't stop. Look, this article was written just yesterday or 2 days ago, right? Anyway. Danish media reports 3 men with ties to Donald Trump are accused of attempting to infiltrate Greenlandic society. I mean, like they don't have anything else to do. Why don't you infiltrate your own American neighborhoods? Why don't you go infiltrate the red states where all the homicides are happening and all the poverty exists? Why don't you do something about what's going on in the United States of America? Do something about the homeless, for real. Do something about people getting education. Do something about people getting Medicare, getting health care. You see this, how flagrant this U.S. government is right now? How flagrant they are. They got the nerve to want to go to some other country and act like people want to be a part of you. Nobody fucking wants to be ripped off by Donald Trump or J.D. Vance. And nobody wants to be a slave to Elon Musk. Now, yeah, Danish media reports 3 men with ties to Donald Trump are accused of attempting to infiltrate Greenlandic society. This is what they got time to do, y'all. They don't have time to fix the United States of America, get some money in people's pockets, bring the prices down of goods, make rent cheaper, make education cheaper, make healthcare more accessible. They don't have time to do that. They're just going to gaslight y'all, and then they think they could take this gaslight around the world. It ain't going to work. The only people that are going to go for this gaslighting at the very best are some American people that are too fucking brainwashed and stupid to not see when their own leaders hate them. Now, Denmark has summoned the U.S. charge for d'affaires for an urgent meeting over an alleged influence campaign in Greenland aimed at shaping public opinion and the future of the Arctic territory. So they're there basically trying to spread American propaganda, U.S. propaganda specifically, right? It comes and trying to get people to maybe have a movement to jump and become part of the U.S. It comes after reports from Danish media confirmed by the Danish Foreign Office that at least 3 U.S. men with ties to Donald Trump and the White House have been accused of trying to infiltrate Greenlandic society. Their activity, which according to the broadcasters DR, include compiling lists of Trump supporting. Hold on, let me see something here. Yeah, there we go. Their activity, which according to the broadcasters DR, includes compiling lists of Trump supporting Greenlandic citizens. Compiling list of Trump supporting Greenlandic citizens, okay, is being closely watched by the Danish government, which is understood to be aware of foreign agents and actors trying to shape public opinion in Greenland. Okay, so the very United States government that has its military active fucking with all kinds of people inside of the country, they think Greenlandic people want to fucking be harassed by ICE? You know, do you think Greenlandic people are stupid? You know, they see how you treat your own native people. So they see your little industrial game a mile away, your slavery game, your colonizing game, your tour of disrespect a mile away. I mean, all right, let's see here. The Danish Foreign Minister Lars Løkke Rasmussen denounced the alleged scheme on Wednesday, saying it was totally unacceptable. He said it's important that we gain insight into this so that our populations, this applies to both Greenland and Denmark, can see what it is we are up against. You understand? Exactly. Rasmussen said officials, would make it very clear to the U.S. that a foreign influence campaign in Greenland with Washington's backing would be contrary to all international rules. Mette Frederiksen, the Danish prime minister, said she was taking the claims very seriously. Any interference in internal affairs of the Kingdom of Denmark and Greenlandic democracy is unacceptable, she said. I note that the Americans do not clearly deny that the situation is as DR presents today. So they don't deny it. And that, of course, serious. Yeah, so the U.S. didn't issue a denial, right? Trump didn't issue a denial. You know, basically it's just being provocative for the sake of escaping the Epstein files, you know, trying to get more news. And this is what's so pathetic about it. First of all, take care of your own people first. You haven't even done that yet. You know, isn't that what MAGA ran on? Take care of America first. You see what I mean? And already, instead of treating America first, what they want to do is treat Americans last and then go out and find some more people to treat like shit. You know, the Greenlanders ain't going for it. Nobody's going for it outside of the U.S. Donald Trump has repeatedly threatened to acquire Greenland since taking office, driving tensions, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, everybody knows what that is, right? So let's get out of here. Just so people got a chance to see that, right? Now, let's go to the next one here. Look at this. This is in the Daily Beast, but this is around. This is in all over the globe. This different articles, different countries, different languages. European leaders call Trump a Russian asset. This is official. This is starting to get main headlines in Europe. This is mainline U.S. European news. You know, this is the talk across Europe right now. Portugal's president has branded President Donald Trump a Russian asset, blasting him. This is in broad daylight, open. He's just totally accusing him of this. You see what I mean? So once you get one president or MP that is saying this, you best believe the sentiment is much greater. Portugal's president has branded President Donald Trump a Russian asset, blasting him for his tepid response to Moscow while Ukraine struggles against the Russian invasion. Trump has wavered heavily in the public stance on the war that started when Russian President Vladimir Putin ordered a full-scale assault on Ukraine over 3 years ago. While Trump has threatened Putin with higher sanctions and severe consequences if he presses on with the war, he has declined to follow through, often lashing out at Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky instead. Exactly. Now, they're just going to break down the hypocrisy in Trump, but nonetheless, that's what people need to know. This is the talk across Europe. The talk is no more wondering what's up with Donald Trump. It's no more speculating or not really coming to a conclusion. This is what folks think. Now, yeah. You take it for whatever it's worth. You take it for whatever it's worth. But I would tell you this. If I was an American citizen, which I am, and I was living inside of the US, which I'm not, but if I was, I would advise people to go get a gun license and get ready slowly, calmly, take some gun lessons and don't wait too long. This is the second time I said this. Like, I said this months ago. Like, seriously, people on the left, gays, straights, blacks, whites, women, Latinos, Asians, all these people, LGBTQ, all these people that these folks hate, you all need to become responsible gun owners. Like, seriously, because these people hate you. And other people are starting to take this situation seriously. Now, yeah, this guy does not want to leave office. He does not want to leave office. What's in those Epstein files and what he has going on with Putin demands that he does not just leave office. So just be aware of that. Just be aware of that. If you want to. If you want to. I think it's worthwhile to be. Just a little backup here.
Transcripts that related to the Maxwell prosecution. There is some evidence related to Epstein's death. Nothing that is sensational or adding significant information. What is not new, what is missing, is the central concern, which is who else was involved, who was on these flights, who engaged in illegal behavior and abuse of underage women. That is simply missing in terms of what they've released. Have a fact that only 3% of the documents that were given to us were new. 97% were already in the public domain. And less than 1% of the Epstein files have actually been released. The Epstein files are 300 gigabits.
So you can see all this news you're hearing about in the middle of while DC's invaded, LA's invaded, they're trying to invade Greenland again. All of the news headlines, firing people here and there, whatever else is going to come of it, right? All that is transpiring at the same time that they're not releasing the Epstein files. Same time Putin is coming and Trump is holding up a picture of Putin in the White House saying, this is my friend. I'm going to ride his nuts until the end of time, essentially, is what Trump is saying. You are in danger. But don't act them up and don't go crazy, but just start your, stocking your shelves, getting your water, making a plan with your neighbors and your communities, become responsible gun owners, for more than one gun, right? Because these people, number one, hate you and they are not planning on leaving peacefully. They're not planning. They're going to try to do everything possible to stay in power, and again, whatever it is Putin and Trump allegedly have going on demands that he does not let go of power. Right. And whatever is in those Epstein files also demands that he does not let go of power. Now, I've been telling folks for a minute that their plan, if anybody that's been around here listening to me for a minute knows this, their plan, I'm going to say it again, their plan is Trump is about to go sick. That's been the plan the whole time. They anticipated he would be sick. J.D. Vance is going to, come in under the guise of Trump being sick. And one of the last acts Trump is going to make is pardoning Maxwell. Right? That's basically pretty much what the game plan is in, because if she doesn't get her ass out of jail, she is going to snitch. Like, she's going to tell more. That's her main job right now. So she's giving Trump a chance, and Trump's going to have to deliver soon. Right. And so, Trump is not looking too good. So they're probably going to get him out of there, get someone else. They're already tired of Trump. They want to convince the population that things will be better, that, try to distance themselves a little bit from Trump after the pardon. But the fact is that they're already in knee deep. They're not trying to come out. They've already crossed the line, violating the laws and all of these things. So they're not planning on having a peaceful exit. Now Gavin Newsom has been telling people another way. He's been saying what he's been saying. And I would suggest people on the left take a close listen to what he's been saying. Right? I would suggest that. So here we go.
If he is to invest in crime suppression, I hope the President of the United States would look at the facts. Just consider Speaker Johnson's.
Now, this is obviously him speaking, responding to why Trump is sending out the military. But he explains it later why Trump is sending this military out and ICE out, because he does not plan on leaving power. And when he steps down, the next one doesn't either.
State and district. Just look at the murder rate. That's nearly 4 times higher than Californians in Louisiana. It's Speaker Johnson.
I mean, obviously, he's not worried about those states, right? For some reason. Maybe that's where his supporters are, right? Or maybe that's where he feels, whatever it is. But obviously, he's sending the idea is that if you did want to, take over and not leave power, then the best thing you could do is have your military and the people that are under your direction in your quote unquote enemies or in your opposition's town already with weapons and guns in advance of the midterm elections. They know these midterm elections are make or break. This is a real election. This is more important than a presidential election. This election, if you get 2/3 of the House, you can impeach the president, the vice president, Supreme Court justices. And if you listen to Gavin Newsom, he has been breaking this down. The Supreme Court justices are really the sellouts also of the American people. Of reparative justice, they have sold out the whole concept of reparative justice for all people. That means if discrimination happens to you, the state cannot come back and say, hey, you were discriminated against. We're going to award you this because the others got this, this, and this, and you were discriminated against and didn't get your share. So we're going to award you that. The Supreme Court has been against that. Although why would they be? So that means if you're discriminated against, it's basically legal to discriminate. That's what the Supreme Court is saying. No rewards from the state when they find out there's systemic discrimination going on, right? That's what that farmers bill was about. That's what a lot of other issues were about. But Supreme Court didn't back it up. Let's see here, though. Let's listen to Gavin.
4x higher. I'm just offering, again, you've not seen this on Fox News, so President may not be familiar with these facts. So I want to present some facts to the President of the United States. And imagine this is alarming to the President to learn these facts. Mississippi leads the nation as the #1 murder state in America. Imagine this in particular may resonate with the President.
Right. So he's not sending military into Mississippi. That's Mike Johnson, I think. That's a red state. That's a red state. So.
President of the United States. It's got a murder rate 180%. 180% higher than Los Angeles. It's interesting. LA has more people. These are all per capita numbers. More people than Los Angeles. Perhaps the president could deploy the National Guard in every corner of Mississippi. And the fact remains, if the president is sincere about the issue of crime and violence, there's no question in my mind that he'll likely be sending the troops into Louisiana and Mississippi to address the unconscionable wave of violence that continues to plague.
I do have something for you today. Yeah.
Now, Gavin Newsom, he was here in Sacramento doing this summit, and this is just a few days ago. And I listened to this, and this is going to be one of the more consequential speeches that you hear regarding what the fuck to do about Trump and the Russian assets there, and the corrupt folks, right? The people that know that they're committing crimes and stealing money from the American people, right? The criminals. He is giving the most consequential speech. Just take a listen. You're going to hear more giving speeches like this coming out soon. But Gavin is a real one, and he's the first that's letting people know these are not normal times. Do not sleep. If you sleep, he said it himself, you won't have a country. People need to take that warning serious. Just like, I don't know what's up with people. When Kamala Harris told them all of this shit, maybe she was too calm. Maybe she was too intelligent the way she said it. Maybe she was too civilized, her tone, when she warned people. So people didn't believe it. And not enough people. Well, Gavin Newsom, he's not as calm as she is. So pay attention. He's not out there screaming, but if you need someone to comprehend things for you, then you're going to be in trouble. This is a warning to people. Just take the warning.
Thanks for putting the comment first. I overdressed.
You did overdress.
I didn't get the memo.
Shocked. Yeah. Trying to.
So thank everybody for being here and on the live stream. I'm Chris Catalogo, Politico's editorial director in California, and thank you for joining us.
Good to
Governor.
be with you. Good to be here.
So we'll just get right into it. Last summer, folks were writing your political obituary.
Luckily, I don't read obituaries, so I missed it.
During the, I think we were calling it Brat Summer for Kamala Harris. And then in this year alone, you faced the most expensive natural disaster in U.S. history, and then had the major city in your state militarized by the federal government.
Yeah.
Did people underestimate you?
Well, I don't know about that, but I'll leave that to more objective minds, and I'll move the mic down a little bit. But it's been a hell of a year. Been a hell of a half decade. All that stacking of stress, all the anxiety that all of us have faced as we work through a pandemic, as we work through social unrest, as we sort of unwind so much of what we took for granted as it relates to global economy and supply chains. And then, of course, Trump 2.0, depending on which side of the aisle you're on, it's impacts the immune system. And of course, what happened in January was extraordinary. It happened in the middle of winter, one of the largest and most devastating wildfires in U.S. history. Fire attached to 100-mile-an-hour winds. Two extraordinarily large fires damaging communities in Altadena and Palisades, and dozens of other fires which we seem to forget about in and around the region in Southern California. If that wasn't enough, to your point, we saw something unprecedented in modern American history, and that is the President of the United States that federalized the National Guard and did something he never did in his first term. He never sent the military overseas. He sent the military to the United States of America. He sent 700 active duty members of the Marines to the second largest city in the United States of America. Nothing about that is normal, and nothing about that should be normalized. He also threatened, the American people who happen to live in California, that he wouldn't provide aid. He conditioned the aid at a time, disaster, in the middle of the disaster, didn't even wait till the fire was suppressed, to threaten the American people that happen to live in the state of California if we, quote unquote, didn't do his bidding. It is a hell of a time in American history.
How's that impacted on you, though? Going back to the original question.
It's made me more resolved, even more focused. I didn't hear much of that last panel, but I did hear Jim mention the recall. That's pretty clarifying. A lot of finality in that. A lot of humility in that. You don't come out of a recall campaign the same. I came into that recall campaign still arguing that all politics is local. I still had a romantic notion of that. I intellectualized that a lot of our politics and the discourse was national. I didn't fully appreciate how nationalized our politics have become. In so many ways, that shape-shifted a lot of what we're doing and who I am today. But this last year, these last 6, 7 months, this is something altogether different. And I'm on the other side of any kind of hesitancy that I had prior. I'm on the other side of giving a damn about people's feelings about this moment. I will express myself more clearly and more concisely because I see.
You know, there's an article out about MAGA trolls, like MAGA troll farms, bot farms. You know, there's an article out about that actually. Let me know what outlet put that out. I forget which magazine that was.
See the threats in very vivid terms in ways I never saw before. And I see the consequences of not just those administration, but the actions.
Yeah, for real. They spend loads of money. Trump and them spent loads of money on the internet, y'all. They create a whole different reality. I'm telling you.
Actions of this administration, more perhaps than any other governor in the United States, because I've seen the damage firsthand to communities, this economy, our reputation, to our allies, the world we're trying to build. This is simply the most destructive and damaging individual in my lifetime that happens to be the President of the United States, and I need to be held to a higher level of accountability as governor. So in every way, shape, or way, I have changed, and I also, as a father, as a caregiver, recognize that ultimate judgment will come from them. And even myself, when I'm done, I have.
Now you have to couple this with the outside of the U.S., what leaders are saying. Leaders are now officially saying that Donald Trump is a Russian asset. Like he is, as in he is blackmailed by Putin. Basically, that's what they're saying. That's the news now. That's changed. They never came out plainly before and said this stuff, but now that's starting to circulate in the European news. Just so you know, while you listen to Gavin speak, keep that in mind too, because think about this. If the whole world can't be against you for no reason, you see what I mean? Not this many, the people in your own country, the people, this dude Trump doesn't even feed the people in his own country. He does. I mean, you cannot do, there's nothing any American can say. You cannot criticize another nation that makes sure everyone gets access to education. Everyone gets access to healthcare. You can't criticize nations that do that. The U.S. cannot do that. Donald Trump cannot do that. And no maggot can do that. You must be stupid. You know, people think you maggot people are insane. They think you're stupid for not wanting health care for everybody, and at least the citizens. And they think you're stupid for not wanting education to all the citizens. Because after all, what could strengthen the nation more than good health and smart motherfucking brains, intelligent brains? What could strengthen a nation more than that? But see, you maggots are too stupid to understand that. You are truly sick. But a lot of you are just from troll farms that Trump and them pay. Literally, that is the news today. Trust me.
To meet this moment. And so, yeah, this has been very clarifying. It's been very sobering. And in many ways, I've changed.
So the open hand, not a closed fist, that's out the window now?
No, always. But I've always maintained that. You know,
how do you maintain that?
I mean, the same way that I, celebrate the best of this nation by making the point that anyone who tries to.
Yo, there was a big article about Russian troll farms in Ghana also,
To condition or suggest we should condition aid to deal with those that lost their lives and the devastation of the floods in Texas should be ashamed of themselves. I mean, I was proud to send on your behalf, our behalf, search and rescue teams to Texas. Proud of the fact my tax dollars went to Speaker Johnson's district in Louisiana.
So a lot of people don't know this. What he's talking about right now is that his state is a giver state in federal dollars, meaning they give more After they pay the amount of federal dollars they're supposed to pay from their taxes, then they donate more to the federal budget. They volunteer donate. They're a donor state, and they're the biggest donor state. And a lot of their money goes to places to help other states, poor red states like Texas. Texas isn't poor, but it doesn't make the money that Cali makes. In fact, it makes a lot less, right? And so Cali ends up donating money to help places like Texas. That's a red state. So he's explaining that right now. Now check this out. Yep.
That this country steps up in times of emergency and crisis. Proud of the fact we're there providing mutual aid for firefighters, not just across the United States, but increasingly across the globe. Proud of the fact that we recognize that we're all in this together and we're all better off, we're all better off. And so, no, always an open hand, not a closed fist. But, you know, you're going to come after our folks. You know, you're going to throw a United States senator on the ground, handcuff him.
Right. This is not a game. Once you advocate or even accept or even think that it's okay to violently throw a senator on the ground who's just doing their job, you have now become the enemy of freedom. No matter who you are, you have now become the enemy of freedom. You know, just understand that. People need to put that into perspective. And of course, if you're not a United States citizen, I wouldn't expect you to understand that, because a lot of people come from repressed ass countries also. So they may have it twisted about what this is about. You see what I mean? But in this case, when you start throwing senators on the ground just because they're doing their job and they're from a different party than you, that's called authoritarianism. Just in case some other people don't understand what the conversation is about.
Some kid who's trying to go to the grocery store with his dog, who's scared to death to walk his dog to the grocery store because he doesn't look like you and me, looks like Senator Padilla. The hell is that? That's Donald Trump's America. And so, yeah, I sure as hell will have a closed fist and push back against those authoritarian tendencies any day of the week.
After what you faced in California, Trump's now militarizing Washington, D.C. and escalating these threats in cities like Chicago and Baltimore. Yeah. You saw this firsthand in L.A. What do you know about the military coming into a city or a state that they may not know yet?
Well, this is exactly what we said was going to happen. Rewind the tapes. We made this crystal clear. This is a preview of things to come. Let me add to that. Just 10 or so days ago, I don't know if Jim...
This is a preview of things to come. It's a preview of things to come. So people can, in a calm, orderly fashion, start preparing their towns and their communities for, you know, an assault, essentially. And, you know, if I was the person, I wouldn't expect leaders to come out and tell you everything that they know about what they expect to happen. But I'm just telling you, take his words, as a warning. American citizens on the left. Just take the people on the left and the center and the left, non-MAGA people, take this as a warning.
But when we announced this campaign on the redistricting, we did so at the Democracy Center, Little Tokyo, the site, quite literally the sacred site where we were, United States of America and California, was interning the Japanese. At the exact moment, 2 U.S. senators, members of Congress, hundreds of members, leaders in our community that were assembled at that exact same moment, Donald Trump sent masked men to the event, ICE and Border Patrol, primarily the Border Patrol, to intimidate folks.
Right. I see you, my best friend. Yeah, you said Border Patrol arrested 2 firefighters who were in the crew of actively fighting a fire in the Olympic Peninsula. And what, you know, I mean, this is serious. You know, I'm just saying, people, if you love the United States of America, if you're an American and you love your country, pay attention to what this man is saying. And my advice to people on the left, center left, You know, we should be a party now of responsible gun owners, you know, like really to protect our home, because these people, number one, there's something very bad about to happen. I'm just saying it. It appears so, like an attack, you see? So, I'm just saying that, you know, if I was an American citizen living in the US, I would be, you know, making sure that I have a couple of weapons in my home, like straight up already, calmly, and buy some more too, slowly but surely. Buy some more because, you know, all you have to do is use some deductive reasoning, you know, but it doesn't appear like they want to have an election. It doesn't appear.
Poor guy who was selling strawberries was arrested. I imagine he must have been on the most wanted list. Dangerous felon. Disappeared. That is a preview of things to come. Don't think for a second he's going to stop at the National Guard. It's an interesting fact. 4,000 National Guard were federalized, over 700 members of the United States. Hundreds plus $1 million wasted. Literally looking for an assignment. They were taken off the beat. These are police officers, your National Guard. These are firefighters. These are teachers. These are caregivers. They were taken off the streets doing real work to keep you safe and protected, to keep you healthy. And they sat there in the armory looking for something to do. He will send the National Guard. He will send them all across this country, and he will do so through Election Day. And if you think I'm exaggerating, consider the fact that as he demobilized our National Guard, he kept hundreds of them through Election Day. And he'll do so working in concert, as he has with ICE and Border Patrol, to do the same. You have the largest private police force in the world. When they're done with this, all that funding and that big, beautiful portrayal allows more resources for this private police force that increasingly is showing a tendency not to swear an oath to the Constitution, but to the President of the United States.
I see it's a lot of Trump supporters in the chat. Let me see. Tutiwi is a Trump supporter. Make UK great again. Sounds like a Trump supporter. Welcome.
And he'll be.
But listen. There's a lot of Trump supporters out there. There's also a lot of trolls. But I'm okay with that. But I'm telling people my opinion. If I was you, I would be in the US, I would be thinking about protecting my family and my home, because you have to understand, ICE has already gone out and showed you that they're willing to rip babies from their mothers. You have to understand that. And you have to understand that there is a real problem in the United States. This is not just a regular day with a regular political split and and some party shit. No, this is an attack on the country. That's different than party bickering. So what did you do about this and what did you do about that? Yo, you better wake up and pay attention to what's being said. What's being said is you're under attack. When you're under attack, you could drop the party bullshit. Okay. And also, if you're not American, it almost doesn't matter what you think about this one, because you're not the one with the damn military in your town. OK, so the military is in American people's towns. There's political. There's already an attack on the Democratic Party, essentially on liberals, not the Democratic Party, but the people, liberals, what they describe as liberals. That's black people, that's Asians, that's white Americans, that's women, that's gays, that's handicapped people, that's a lot of different kinds of people, right? That's very, very inclusive. And when you hate that, you basically hate yourself, but they are showing you that they are willing to be violent, and they're willing to introduce you to violence. And like this man said, Gavin Newsom, it's just a picture it's just a picture into what is to come. Again, if you're not American, you don't have a lot to worry about.
Sending them to voting booths and polling places all across this country. This is a real and serious moment in U.S. history. And by the way, I say that as an American, not as a...
It's a lot of African Trump supporters. Shit, what are you talking about? Tweet. I said you're a MAGA head. You could be African and be a MAGA head. Shit, I've seen a lot of them. Yeah. Do you think Trump gives a hell about you? Trump, trust me. But you could believe Trump cares about you.
The Democrat. Every Republican should be ashamed about this and scared to death about...
Listen, Tutui, you are a troll. Look at this. For your information, troll, this is probably not even a real African or a black dude. But in any case, I live outside of the U.S., you dumbass. Pay attention.
About not just these authoritarian tendencies, but these authoritarian actions by the president. He is weak. He's weakness masquerading as strength. And that makes him more dangerous than most people believe.
Along those lines,
that makes him more dangerous than what people believe.
Said in the last few days, said well before that he wants to end mail-in balloting. You've talked about your own concern about these efforts to suppress the vote, either before an election and after an election. What are you doing about this November? What are your plans to counter that, whether it's, actions taken around the Postal Service or any of the other actions around this election?
As you know, mail-in balloting happens in red states, blue states, predominant means of which people exercise their fundamental rights. In states like Utah, not just states like California, 80% of you voted by mail in the last election. It was 82 and 86 in the previous elections. So it's overwhelmingly utilized. It's unbelievably safe in the context of being secure, barcodes, signature verifications, process that is well defined and has been well studied and researched. He doesn't want more people voting. He wants to suppress and chill the vote. He also said he wanted to go after certain ballot machines. And by the way, I'll remind you where he got this advice, or at least he asserted he got the advice.
Vladimir Putin. Exactly. So, yeah. But again, there's a lot of people, that come from authoritarian nations themselves that, or maybe they're in love with Putin, for some reason, and it's the same thing about Trump. It's not really explainable, their friendship can't be explained, and then on top of it, people believe that he has the Epstein files, or he has something similar to the Epstein files. And this is why Trump behaves the way that he does. And there's a lot of people that believe that. Yeah, but it is a fact, according to Trump, that Putin is the one who gave him that idea. So, yeah, there's a lot of people out there like Putin that are against mail-in voting, and yeah.
After literally, not figuratively, this is not pejorative, putting out the red carpet to Putin.
I want everybody in the chat to tell me what country do you live in, and also tell me if they have mail-in ballots or not.
Putin apparently gave him this advice. Putin suggested to him, sir, Putin is the master of independent, fair elections, and sort of offered up some sage advice, apparently. And Trump said, my gosh, thank you, Mr. President Putin. We need to end this. Pay attention, folks. This guy is not... Mortgages?
Hey, everybody in the chat, write the country that you're in and write if they have mail-in ballots or not.
IRS? Wake up. We're losing this country in real time. This is not bloviation. This is not exaggeration. It's happening. You don't get a do-over. 249 years, those enduring values, best of Roman Republic, Greek democracy, co-equal branches of government, popular sovereignty. The rule of law is being replaced with the rule of done, period, full stop. And so we have to assert ourselves with more clarity and conviction. That's why, with respect, that last panel was so important. That's what Prop 50 represents, a response to that. We're not bystanders, and we have to shape the future by asserting ourselves.
So how do you make sure that that's a, free and fair election? If it...
Hey, my best friend still answered the question though. My best friend says over 30 countries have. Yeah, that's true, and that's good. I hope everybody's aware of that. Most Western nations also all have mail-in ballots, but my best friend, what country do you live in, and does your country have mail-in ballots?
If you believe that these are real threats.
What we're going to do?
Just coming up in this November. What are you going to do?
Same thing we've been doing, Chris. Look, I mean, we've been involved in over 40 lawsuits. By the way, one of the most important lawsuits that needs to get more attention, and I hope it will get the attention it deserves when Justice Breyer adjudicates the facts. But just a few weeks ago, we deposed members of the Border Patrol. We deposed members of the military, General Sherman, among others, under oath in federal court on posse comitatus. All of what you just described accurately about what Trump is asserting now with an executive order and a strike force to move the military into American cities is a threat on the basis of, again, the rule of law. We count on the courts. We count on this thing called the Constitution. And we count on judges to adjudicate the facts fairly. Any day, any hour, Justice Breyer will come out with a first posse comitatus decision. It will have profound and far-reaching impacts. We're still waiting for the appellate court decision.
So listen, I hope people are following what Gavin is saying. I know a lot of you are, but there's a lot of listeners right now. It's like 400, 500 people listening. And it's not, everybody's not in the chat. So, what Gavin is saying, the posse comitatus, he's going to say more, but he's saying that Trump's plan, and I agree with this 100%. To me, it's logical. Trump's plan is to put the military inside of states, ahead of the election, and use that to suppress people, suppress vote, but also suppress people further. And that Trump doesn't plan on having an election. But essentially, the idea is he knows that the midterm elections are a threat to him personally, because if you get 2/3 of the Senate, you can impeach, you can impeach and kick out the president, vice president, Supreme Court justices. You can do a lot if you get 2/3 of the Senate and the majority of the House. So that's what he's fearing. And whatever is in those Epstein files is real. It's not as simple and small of a little fiasco as just like assault against some minors. Yeah, there was thousands of minors that got assaulted, according to the depositions, but it was for a reason. And, the idea is that the reason is espionage. Number one, compromising material on your leader, your president, and others, not just that person. But yeah. And does Putin have it, or does Putin have his own compromising shit from Trump when he was in Russia? Is that what's going on? In any case, Trump is definitely not planning on leaving office voluntarily, and he's planning on getting sick. They all knew he was going to get sick. They all knew he was going to be old. He's going to pass it over to J.D. Vance, and one of his last acts, according to the concept, the idea is that he's going to pardon Maxwell. J.D. Vance is going to take over after that, and they don't want to have elections. That's the idea. Who knows if that's going to happen, but that's essentially the idea.
As it relates to the illegal tariffs, in the fact that your backpacks cost more, and pencils cost more, and paper costs more for school. This is a guy who's going to ruin your Christmas with the tax on all the toys coming in the next few months. These tariffs, these illegal tariffs. He has no right, legal right, under the Independent Emergency Powers Act to advance that. We're counting on the courts. You asked how?
Yeah.
We count on the courts. You can't count on Speaker Johnson. He has disappeared. He has completely failed.
They shut down the Congress because of the Epstein files. I mean, for a month, just because of the Epstein files.
Failed in his role and responsibility as Speaker. What an embarrassment he is. What an abject failure he continues to be. And I dare say, with respect to Speaker Johnson, he may want to invite the National Guard into Shreveport, Louisiana, that has 6 times the murder rate as Nancy Pelosi's San Francisco. If you want to take care of the carnage in this country, Mr. President, look to the red states, 8 of the top 10 murder states in America, all red states. Look at the carnage in places like Shreveport, Louisiana. It's not about any of that. It is about a dominant, about aggression, and it's about authoritarianism and tendencies. And my son said this. My 9-year-old, God is my witness, Dutch is sitting there watching the president and say, why does he keep saying he's a dictator? People that keep saying things like that actually might be a dictator. And he then went on to say, why don't we watch YouTube? And wanted to go on a game.
What do you guys watch on YouTube?
Oh, well,
How are you going to stop that? I mean, we see folks entertaining a settlement.
It sickens me to the core.
All right, so in essence, he doesn't believe that Trump is planning on having elections. He's giving out a warning to people. Myself, I think I would take the warning seriously. I mean, I do take the warning seriously. European leaders are now coming out calling Trump a Russian asset, publicly. And not just behind the back now, but publicly in the newspapers. And American citizens have the military called on them. The military has been in California, it's in D.C., and they're talking about sending it to other states, Chicago, where else? Illinois, right? Chicago, Illinois, and where else? A few other places, right? Now, that's what's going on in the U.S. But again, back to this theory. Now, I've been saying this for over a month, maybe a month and a half. I don't know how long, but I've been saying that Trump is going to get sick. JD Vance is going to take over. And one of his last acts is to let the pedophile Ghislaine Maxwell off with a pardon. Now, put a 1 in the chat if you support Trump giving Ghislaine Maxwell a pardon. Put a 1 in the chat if you support that. I see it's a lot of Trump supporters in the chat, so that's why I'm asking. Trump supporters, put a 1 in the chat if you think Trump should give Ghislaine Maxwell a pardon. Yeah, look at Leon. No, I have no clue. That's not good enough. Yeah, you need to go on record about your, who you support and what you support. You must have a clue. If you don't have a clue, that means you one of them. You better have a clue. So you want Trump. So you want Trump to pardon. Look at this, y'all. Somebody wants Trump to pardon a pedophile, a convicted sex trafficker. That is crazy. That is crazy. Look at that. Leon Hudson wants Trump to pardon a sex trafficker. I mean, but you see how the trolls are, y'all. That's how it works. But in any case, let's go on.
200 days, but also say that the president is in incredibly good health. He's got incredible energy. And while most of the people who work around the president of the United States are younger than he is, I think that we find that he actually is the last person who goes to sleep. He's the last person making phone calls at night, and he's the first person who wakes up and the first person making phone calls in the morning. So yes, things can always happen. Yes, terrible tragedies happen, but I feel very confident the President of the United States is in good shape, is going to serve out the remainder of his term and do great things for the American people. And if, God forbid, there's a terrible tragedy, I can't think of better on-the-job training than what I've gotten over the last 200 days.
Yeah, look at Leon. No, I have no clue. That's not good enough. So you want Trump. So you want Trump.